Okay, there we go. So I'm going to pin myself because I think that makes it just show me. Do you see
Mhm.
me?
Yes, I do.
Um, okay. So, well, you probably know more about Mad Sweeney than I do.
I
Do you
actually
know?
I don't. I don't. So I'm
I
here to
just,
learn.
let me show you this book that I bought. I have all these, a little history of Irish food, and it's by Regina Sexton. She's sort of a well-known author of a lot of food and Ireland books. And it's pretty old. I don't know, but I get fun ideas for my classes for Celtic Junction out of this book. And this is Mad Sweeney's watercress souffle, which watercress is hard to find, especially this time of year. So I switched out to spinach, but you could use
Oh,
arugula. I'm going to use some baby kale because that's what I had today. But it
okay.
just kind of makes it green, speckled with green.
Okay.
But
Okay.
this is just kind of a fun book. I just have fun with it. So I got idea for this, but I already had a souffle recipe that I've been using for a while. So I sort of did a little mishmash and came up with this one. But I
Oh,
guess Mad
fun.
Sweeney was a king. I think it was more of a mythical kind of a king.
Mhm.
You know how they have all their legends and all
Yes.
that. In the seventh century, these are some of the notes I took. Is told that he went mad on the battlefield and he tried to expel a cleric that was on his property, but his wife tried to stop him. And in the midst of her trying to stop, attacking this cleric, he got away from her, and she ended up grabbing his red cloak, and he was naked, and he went off into the woods and was naked for the rest of his life, and flying all over. Kind of an odd story, but he went a little kooky, not
Yeah.
kooky, but so this is a
Eccentric.
legend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so he was surviving on wild fruits and nuts and watercress, which does grow along freshwater streams, but
Hmm.
and you can forage for it, but you really probably shouldn't because this contamination and stuff like that. But so that's just sort of the mad Sweeney tale, I guess. But
When you
still,
do buy when you do I'm sorry, when you do buy watercress though, where do you find it? Do like Byerly's and London Byerly's?
maybe more in the springtime. Have seen it at like Lakewinds Co-op and at Whole Foods. I've seen it there, I
Okay.
think, before
Okay.
too.
Okay.
It's got a sort of, I think maybe even a better replacement would be arugula, just sort of for that peppery bite.
Okay.
But I think that um, any kind of good green is a good
Okay. Sure.
substitution because we're going to
Okay.
saute it a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm going to move my laptop back a little bit here
Okay.
so you can see what I'm doing, and for sure ask all kinds of questions. I want you to be able to see my board more than me.
I can see
Okay.
it.
Okay. So first thing, let's talk about, well, first, what we're going to do, and so you're not really cooking along, but that's okay, is we're just going to prep our souffle dish. So this is a 2.5 quart souffle dish. It's got straight sides. You can use it
Hmm.
for all kinds of things. I love this little dish. So I use it for many more things than souffles. And just take a nub of butter and we're just kind of preparing the pan, greasing it, and then I'm just using my hands and just sort of
Hmm.
smearing it all over. And um, so that will help. I have a little Parmesan and some breadcrumbs,
Okay.
and I'm going to mix those together. Put them in this little bowl here. Just sort of mix them up a little bit. And pop it in the dish, and then just sort of as if you're kind of flouring, if you've ever
Mhm.
done that kind of thing when you're
Sure.
baking.
Sure.
So it'll help it release, but also will help it, gives a little flavor too.
Hmm.
So it's not a bad thing. You don't have to get rid of it or anything. You can just kind of get it on the bottom, and then you can just set that aside.
Okay.
So that's that. Let me just wash my hands up a little because now they're all buttery.
Butterfingers.
Yeah, could be worse.
I love your
Okay,
kitchen.
so
It's beautiful.
but oh, thank you. It's a COVID kitchen. We live in St. Paul and it was a tiny little space, and I really wanted to get more into my teaching, and so it was time, and it
Mhm,
worked out pretty well that
mhm.
we were able to do this. Worked out very well. So we're going to wait to separate the eggs
Okay.
because I want to get this kind of the rest of it going so it can cool down a little bit before we separate the eggs. But
Okay.
one thing to note is cold eggs separate easier than room temp eggs,
Okay.
but room temp eggs whip up better than cold eggs. So sometimes I'll just separate them out, and then, but I'm going to just do that all here because I
Okay.
thought I'd maybe have a couple more people to chat. But so we're just going to so I have some fresh kale, so I didn't have to wash it because this has been washed
Sure.
a bunch of times. And I should have this opened.
Whereabouts in St. Paul do you live?
We're right on Berkeley off of Fairview,
Oh, yeah.
so Mac
Nice.
Groveland neighborhood.
Yep.
Yeah.
I went to St. Kate's, so I know it well.
Oh, yeah, we
Yeah,
sure do. Where do you
beautiful.
live?
I live in North St. Paul.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
I'm right on the border of Maplewood and North St. Paul.
Okay, great.
But yeah, you have a beautiful neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah, we've been here for 25 years.
Oh,
It's
very
really,
nice.
we love it. Love it.
Yeah.
We're now the old people on the block. We have all
Yeah,
these
I
new
know. We
young
are too.
families,
We are too. I know.
which is great. Love
Yeah.
the young families. They're adorable. So I'm
Yeah.
just doing a rough chop through this baby kale,
Okay.
and we're going to do sort of a couple. I'm going to um, saute this, take it out of the pan, and then make the sauce, and then we can kind of put it all back together again.
Okay.
But if you ever cook greens, I mean, it looks like a lot, but it will cook down to pretty
Right.
much
Right.
nothing. So
I try to use spinach quite a bit when I cook.
yeah, and fresh spinach I think it's
Yes.
just great. The baby
Oh,
spinach
I
that you can
yeah.
get it all the
Yeah,
time.
I use it every time I can.
Yeah, and it doesn't have that much flavor, so I just throw it in. I mean, it does, but I just throw it in everything.
Right. Right. And it's so healthy for you.
Yeah, yeah. But I love this baby kale or arugula, same kind of thing. You get a lot of it's just good color and all that. I don't want to waste it.
Mm.
So do this too. All right. And then I'm going to chop up some green onions.
Okay.
And that's going to be another green, but we're going to keep the white separate from the green.
Okay.
And we'll, just because the whites are a little firmer, so we'll just add we don't want to, it seemed to have a little bit more flavor, I think.
Okay.
So I'm just going to take off the little nubs. And I don't know if you've taken a lot of cooking classes or anything, but I always like to give a little bit of a knife skills. So when I'm holding a knife, grab the base of the knife with my thumb and forefinger, and then just wrap my fingers around. And this is just a really safe way to use a knife. The
Okay.
closer your hand is to the blade, the more
Okay.
control you have on with the knife. Instead of versus this is just not always so safe. So I just
Sure.
wrap your finger around.
Good to know.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I
Um,
I volunteer once a month at Dorothy Day,
hmm,
and I hate onions,
hmm.
but I mean I eat fried onions or cooked onions, but it never fails that I am the one that gets to chop the onions.
If you have a nice sharp knife, that makes a really big difference too.
Yes, yeah,
To I'm just gonna put these in with this.
You make it look so easy.
Well, you know, I mean, I've been doing it for a long time, so.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
just, you
thank you.
keep this other hand, you keep those fingers vertical, because once you
Okay.
go horizontal, and if you don't have a sharp knife, slip and, well,
Yeah.
you know what happens from there.
Yes, I do.
And I always try to cut them on a bit of a bias, an angle, because then they don't roll off the board too. So
Oh, okay, sure.
that's always something I like to do. So I'm just going to use the same pan for both. So I'm just going to heat up I'm going to saute the spinach or the kale in this pan, and
Okay.
then take it out, and then I'll make the sauce in the same pan. So
Okay.
we're going to use 4 tablespoons of butter total for this, but I'm just going to put 1 tablespoon in for right now for the
Okay.
spinach.
Okay.
And just get the butter melted. I need another camera over here, but
No, that's fine. You're fine.
I'll finish chopping up these guys. These a little bit smaller, so they won't get cooked for so long. I might put these in raw too, the greens, just because I think I like the flavor of them. But if you don't, you know, you could always just you could skip the onions too if you want.
Yes, I could.
Yep. Always. Any substitutions, or you know, you can figure that out, no problem. So then after we get these sauteed, we'll take the spinach out, let it cool a little bit, make the sauce. And so we're going to basically make a roux, which is
Okay.
butter
Yep.
and flour. And then we'll add back in the greens,
Okay.
and we'll put in a little bit of nutmeg, because nutmeg is really nice for when you have greens. It just adds a little, just kind of makes or a cream sauce. It just kind of
Sure.
brings it all together, which are really
Sure.
nice. And then we'll add our milk, and we'll let that cool down while we separate the eggs and whip the egg whites. And then we'll add everything together, fold everything together with the cheese.
Okay. Okay.
What was I going to say? Oh, I'm preheating the oven to, so I've got a nice bubble going on for my tablespoon of butter here. I'm going to add these
Okay.
in. And these in first. Let those go for a second. But I'm preheating the oven with a sheet pan. I don't know if you can see in here, but there's a sheet pan in there, a baking sheet pan. I don't think it says this on the instructions, but that is really so that once you put the souffle in on top of it, it is nice and hot, and that'll just help give it a little bit more lift, a little quicker lift. So, and my oven is at 400. My oven is really hot, so it's actually a little lower, but I'm just gonna let that go for a second. And anytime you're sauteing, whether it's veggies or anything, I just always add a little pinch of salt. It helps kind of bring out the water in the veg, and it seasons it as you go. I think that's one of my tips all the time is anytime I add a veg to a saute, I put a little bit of salt in, because if you season as you go, you're really permeating the food and really seasoning it well, versus if you wait till the end to add your salt, you're just kind of, it tastes like you just waited to the end to add your salt. I think it's just a better way, and you use less salt too, I think, if you just season as you go. It's one of my tips. I tell everybody all the time. So these little green onion whites are cooking well. I'm going to add in the chopped up kale. This will cook down in no time. You want to keep the heat fairly high for these, because we want the moisture. Again, I'm going to add a little salt here. You want the moisture to evaporate as much as, because we don't want a wet veg mixed here.
Right. So will that cook down to pretty much will there be any liquid when you're done?
It cooks down to just about nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the oil or the butter helps for it to evaporate too. So Just kind of let that go for a sec. I'm cooking. It doesn't take long at all. It's already, I mean, it's
Yeah.
already down to
Yeah. Yep.
not much. So I'll let that cook for a minute. Let's see. So we got our sauteed onions and green kale, and then we'll make our roux. Let's get that all that stuff done. So we've got our green part of our onions on hold here. Our pan's ready to go. Just gonna check this a little. Stir it around every couple seconds. I'm just gonna set my timer for about 3 minutes, just so that I'm sure to get it nice but we don't want it to burn or anything either. So, but I think there's plenty of butter in there. We should be all right. So when I was in school over there in 2020, I was seeing how watercress was foraged quite a bit. And I don't really think it is too much now, but we went on an urban foraging tour one day, and it was really fun. I mean, rosemary grows wild in Ireland. They have wild garlic, which is sort of like our ramps. Have you ever heard of ramps that we get here? It's
Yes,
springtime. They're very similar to ramps, but they eat the whole thing, put it in salads. It's wild garlic. Wow, it was wonderful. Wild leeks. There were just so many things that we gathered that day, and then we went back to the chef's house and he cooked, and it was really an amazing day. That was really fun. Yeah, yeah. But and they still forage for a lot of things like seaweed. That would be another thing you could put in here. I'm kind of hooked on Irish seaweed. I order it from Connemara, and I get dried seaweed. And I did a class, and we made a seaweed butter, and we made these seaweed crackers, and they were delish. But I'm kind of hooked on the stuff. I think it's really fun. That'd be something you could kind of saute up in the pan.
Do you
add
do
a
you know
little.
what kelp is?
Yeah.
Kelp?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so when I give my presentation, I talk about how during the famine, like of the 1880s, early 1880s, the kelp, they used to be able to export a lot of kelp and sell kelp, but then other parts of Europe started buying Peruvian potash, which replaced kelp. Kelp is used as a fertilizer.
Oh, right. Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah.
and that was again in
yeah.
Galway, the Galway area, and also
Mhm.
part of County Mayo.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
One time I was there, I was with my daughter, and we were on one of the little Aran Island, and we got in one of the we took a little horse and buggy tour, and so the sweet man was giving, it was just the two of us on this tour, and he took us by his house, and he said, "Oh, there's my potato patch." And I said, "Oh my gosh, what give me some tips on growing potatoes, because I've been trying to grow potatoes." He said, "Oh, just a lot of sand and seaweed." So now when I grow my potatoes, I throw in a lot of sand and a lot of seaweed. It's pretty fun.
Good. Interesting. That's funny.
I know. Michael Flaherty. Oh, he was
Good name.
a gem.
How many times have you been to Ireland?
I have now been there officially 8 times.
Oh, wow.
I
That's
know.
great.
I know. I'm just so hooked on the place. I don't want to go anywhere else. I'm addicted to the place.
Is your husband Irish?
He is, yeah. He's his family's from Mayo and Roscommon and Cavan. I think that's his mom has done a lot of research. So yeah, he's been a few times with me. I was there for school. I was in college.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Are you from St. Paul?
Yeah, I grew up right in St. Paul. Yeah, not far from here for sure. Yeah. Okay, so I took out the It went down to nothing.
Yeah, it really did.
Probably even use a little more. So now I'm going to melt the other 3 tablespoons of the butter. And
Okay,
this is just a basic roux.
okay.
So you've heard of a roux, or have you
Yes,
heard
I've
of a
made
roux?
roux before.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So a roux, and then once this melts, we'll add in the flour. Oh, I wish I do have some seaweed, but I think I would have wanted to saute it with the reconstituted. I was thinking about doing that, but don't want to throw people too much.
Yeah.
I'm going to put in some salt here too. You're going to want about a half a teaspoon or so of salt. And I just like to wait until the butter stops bubbling, because
Okay.
then most of the moisture, there's a lot of water in butter, and then that kind
Okay.
of evaporates off. So I like to wait till it sort of stops bubbling. You don't want it too high, but you can kind of hear it too. Come on, Bubbles. There must be a lot of moisture in this Kerrygold butter.
Mm,
Okay, I'm going to add in the flour,
okay.
and we're going to want to cook out this flour for a couple minutes, and that really just gets rid of that raw flour flavor before adding the milk.
Sure.
And I just continually,
And what kind of milk are you using?
I'm going to use whole milk.
Okay. Is,
Um,
is that all you cook with? Because I usually use skim milk.
I stopped skim a few years ago. I just, I and it kind of started, I started poo-pooing skim milk when I went to Ireland. They're like,
Really?
skim? What do you mean? They don't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
skim milk there. They don't. Um, it's just that nice yellowish
Yeah.
milk. But
Mm.
I just felt like, and I really don't drink milk anymore. My husband will put it in his smoothies. So we always have whole milk, but I
Okay.
just think it kind of, if you do have it, it just satiates you a little more. Like if I do ever have a bowl of cereal, that whole milk, it just tastes so much better. And I grew up on skim milk. I mean, I did, but I just thought, all right, I'm gonna be done with that. So then after a minute or two, we're just gonna add in the milk. And a lot of people do, I just do a little bit at a time just to make sure I don't get any lumps. I
Yeah,
should have
I
shown you
always
this.
have lumps.
But that,
I said I generally have lumps.
well, you just add it slowly and whisk them out, and then you can
Okay.
add a little more.
Okay.
And this, if you add it nice and slow, you should be okay.
All right.
And it gives it a little chance to incorporate a little bit. Okay, truth be told, I used whole wheat flour
Okay.
because I had it, and I think I need to add a little bit more milk. It's a little thick because we're going to want to put the cheese in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, I think it'll be nice. It's already really thick, though. See if you
Okay,
can see
sure.
here.
Yep. Yep, I see it.
Nice and thick. So off the heat, I'm going to add in the cheese. And so I freshly grated some good cheddar. I think I have a little Dubliner in here too. Whatever you have, whatever you like, but a nice strong cheese I think is really important, whether it's
Okay.
Gouda or Gruyere.
Oh God, I
Love
love Gouda.
Gruyere is very classic for a souffle.
My son lives in Zurich, Switzerland, and so they eat a lot of Gruyere. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I
I
know.
really love Gruyere. It's expensive though. It isn't
Yeah,
I just so good, nutty. All right, so that is all of that. And it'll just melt from the residual heat of
sure.
the pan and everything in it. So
Do you have any idea how many calories there are in a serving of this? Or don't I want to know?
Nope. Oh, I don't think we want to know. I think we can just,
We'll just,
you
well,
know,
we've got spinach, right? Or
yeah,
we've got
spinach,
kale.
kale, spinach, yeah,
We've
whatever you
got
like.
healthy things in there, right? There's something healthy.
Yeah. So I'm going to grate in a little fresh nutmeg, but
Okay.
if it's maybe a scant quarter teaspoon.
Okay,
But
sure.
when you do it from fresh,
Okay.
it's much stronger. So I would
Where do you
probably
get
use
fresh
more.
nutmeg? Whole Foods?
They're just round little pods.
Okay.
And you get about 44 of them in a jar, and they last you about 47 years. So they're pretty much anywhere. Or
Oh, okay.
if you go to any co-op,
Okay.
you can get just one at a time
Okay.
usually, which
Okay.
is kind of nice. And then I just use a fine grater
Sure.
to grate it. Okay, so now we'll kind of let this cool. So that's done. I'm going to put
Okay.
that back here, cool down a little bit. And I guess I could have added my spinach, but I'm going to wait on that. So now we'll go to our eggs. So I just have some tips for eggs because we're going to whip these eggs. And if you get any fat in the egg whites, they just won't whip up. So I have a sort of a procedure that I go through so that I don't get any fat in. And I've also, my mixing bowl here, um, I've kind of wiped out with a little bit of vinegar on a paper
Okay.
towel just to ensure that there's no F left over from, whatever was the last
Right.
thing I made.
Christmas cookies, right?
Yeah, you never know, just because it won't whip up for you. So it's gonna grab. So what I like to do is I like to just separate it into a smaller bowl and then transfer both into another bowl, because just in case it's already cracked in here, then it'll catch it here.
Sure.
So that's just, and I always just separate into my hands instead of going across the egg shell, because so that worked out. So I'm going to put yolks there and the whites
So you don't
there.
use an egg separator?
Well, I mean, you could, but I don't know. I just think my hands, I don't know. God gave me these hands and they work pretty well, so I'm just going to use them.
Why not, right?
Yeah. I just find it a little easier to do it this way. Your hands get all mucky anyways, so you can't
Sure.
crack an egg without getting egg on your hands. So
Right,
I
right.
figure might as well just use them. I just like this. It's a little extra bowl to wash, but I just think it ensures that. Oh, this is a stubborn one. One more. So that'll give us 5 eggs, 5 egg yolks, 5 egg whites. I think it's kind of fun to do, actually. Oop. I have a guy who trying to think, a friend told me, anyways, he's got this, he lives in, oh, I think he lives in New Brighton or something. He's a professor at or he's one of the deans at the U, and he's got, he rents farm, and he's got chickens, and he sells his chicken eggs and chicken and ducks and duck eggs, and he delivers.
Oh,
And
wow.
he's the nicest guy. And so I have my eggs delivered fresh, and it's
Oh,
such a
nice.
treat. And they're
Wow.
amazing. They're the best eggs. I just haven't bought store-bought eggs in a while. Anyway, he drops them off. He's from
Nice.
India.
Okay.
Nice guy. Super. Love it. Really fun. Okay, so we have our egg yolks, egg whites, and we are going to, now I get to turn on my mixer, and you could use a hand mixer. It seems to
Okay.
take a little while, so I just get out the big boy here and
Sure.
put it on, and it should take, and we want fairly firm peaks. Sorry. So you start out nice and slow, and it makes a lot of noise. Sorry.
That's fine. Yep, that's fine.
You're going to start out slow, and I'm just going to put a pinch of cream of tartar in. That's
Sure.
not in the recipe either, but that just helps to stabilize it.
Okay.
So really just a pinch or so, quarter teaspoon at the most. We start out a little slow. And it takes maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And you think, oh, it's not happening. But then once it happens, it goes really quick. So,
Sure.
so I'll just keep an eye on that. So we've got the eggs separated and in. We can add just cool down a bit, enough. So we can add the yolks one at a time. Just wanted it to cool down so that it doesn't scramble the
Right.
yolks.
Right.
But I'm just going to try and incorporate one at a time in here. Get this ready. The cheese mixture. And then after I put the egg yolks in, I'll add in the green onion greens and the sauteed kale, spinach, watercress, arugula. You could do a mix of all those too. That would be
Sure.
kind of fun. Number 3. It really does help to do one at a time. Just gets it mixed in a little more thoroughly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this kind of narrower
Oh yeah, I
mix,
see that.
which isn't
Mhm.
of course necessary, but it helps to get in those corners of the pan.
Sure.
But occasionally, if you don't have one, just use a rubber spatula to make sure you get everything out of those corners.
Sure.
Okay. 5 egg yolks. I mean, really, okay, so there's 4 tablespoons of butter. You could probably reduce it if you wanted, the butter. And then there would be 4 tablespoons of oil, of flour. It's really not that. I don't think they're
No.
quite as fattening as we think these are. I don't think so. You know,
No.
we'll just think that way for a while.
That's right. I like that. I like how you think.
Guilt, no need to be.
No.
We have enough guilt in our life,
Isn't that true? Yeah, it is.
right? So I'll just added all that in. I'm going to check on my eggs here. Okay, so they're kind of foamy, so I'm going to. And really, you started slow so it doesn't splash all over you. It's really the main reason for that. But it's nice, and there's our green
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
little sauce here. And then we'll fold this in with our whipped up egg whites when that happens. Grab rubber spatula. Do you do anything with Irish fare, Jane?
I do. I actually taught a class there this year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and it was very fun. It was the first time I was asked to, or that I did it. But I've also just volunteered in the past, and that's
Yeah.
always fun.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then one year I was in Ireland, and it's like, shoot me, why did I plan this trip then? And then another year, my son, like I said, my son lives in Switzerland, and I didn't see him for 2 years during COVID.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so we went to see him finally in Zurich, Switzerland. He got married online during the pandemic. And we had met his wife a couple times. She had come here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's Maltese. So we're going to Malta for Christmas.
Oh, how fantastic.
Yeah, and they just got married. They got married online a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and then they had a big church wedding this summer in Malta, and it was really fun.
So meaning like they got married together. You were online watching it from here.
Right, and we were meeting her parents for the first time, and it's like 2 in the morning
Oh my
here. And like, my God, and it, just it's like, oh my God, I just can't believe this, it's
God.
like
Oh,
he's my only child, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't, and I miss him so much. It's
Oh,
just been really hard.
I
Um,
bet. I
but
bet. I
her
bet.
dad is not well, and so he's got
Oh,
pancreatic cancer, and
oh,
so he was fine during the wedding. He's had it for over a year, but it's like I think the kids realize they want to have all four of their parents together. And it's
yeah.
like I said to my husband, let's not even think about it. Let's just do it.
But good for
So
you. Good for
yeah,
you.
it's a long
Plus, you
plane
get to go
ride.
to Malta. Sounds amazing.
Oh,
Sounds really amazing.
yeah,
Oh, that's fun. Okay, so it's white and bubbly, but
good.
it's coming along. Don't want to look at it too much or I might jinx it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just going to give this a little taste to make sure it's got enough salt on it. Yeah, just a little sprinkle. Oh, I'm going to add some red pepper too. You could add all kinds. You should do some fresh thyme in here or rosemary. It'd
Okay.
be delicious.
Okay.
If you have any of those, I
Sure.
just think pepper is really nice for sure. As well with the eggs. And you could do these in little individual dishes. And this
Okay.
part of the whole procedure before baking can be done about an hour before you put it in the oven. So if you were doing it for, you know, dinner party or something, you could get it all done ahead and then just
Okay.
pop it in the oven.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
And
And
then
it,
what would you serve with this? What else would you serve with it? Like,
I mean, I think typically it's served with a roast of some kind.
okay.
But you could even just go the opposite direction and just serve it with a salad and it'd be
Yeah.
perfect. That'd be a really nice like luncheon or even a brunch or just a light dinner for
And some
sure.
crostini, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, a little crusty bread for sure. It'd be delicious. Um, and it bakes. Let's see. Oh, so then when we put it in the oven, that's right. We turn it the oven down so it's preheating at 400, but then we turn it down to 375. So we're getting that initial burst, and then
Right.
it'll rise up. And it should only take about a half hour.
Okay.
So I guess I could send you a photo when it's done after I fold it.
I'm
Or
sure
we
it's
could
beautiful.
or we could sit and chat and have a glass of wine and wait for the souffle to
Good.
rise.
We could do that.
Oh, all right. I think I can turn it up one more and then it should be like sorry, it's just loud.
I don't even hear it, honestly.
Oh, you don't? Oh
I
wow.
don't
Okay.
know.
Wow.
I have only made one souffle in my life, and it was like 40 years ago. Isn't that
Oh,
amazing? My mother used to have this recipe for tuna souffle on Fridays.
oh
We
my
would make
God.
once in a while, and it was so good. In fact, I found that recipe the other day. I still have it, and I'm
Yeah,
determined to make it.
I think they're really fun.
Yeah.
I think it's just really a fun thing to make. Okay, so um we want to do it to stiff peaks. So if you
Oh
take,
yeah.
you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So that's right where you want. And if you do it too far and it gets really dry and kind of looks lumpy, you can save it by whisking in another egg white. But
Okay.
yeah, if that happens. So that is that. And actually, I think I'm going to get a big bowl. I was going to do it in the, oops, sorry. I was going to do it into the um,
Egg whites.
mixer bowl, but I think
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it all into here. That'll help cool it down a little bit more too. It makes more sense to do this. So how many times have you been to Ireland?
I have been to Ireland 3 times.
Yeah.
And like I said, we were supposed to go over during the pandemic and then that didn't
Yeah,
happen. So, but I have a cousin that I met who lives in County Mayo, and
really.
she came to my son's wedding this summer. And she
Oh,
invited me to her son's wedding, and I went out there by myself, and it was so fun.
oh,
Because so yeah. And I keep very close tabs with friends that I've met there and
yeah.
my cousin. And so, in fact, I was just talking to a woman last night because I met this woman who's looking for her genealogy family, and I have a woman that is in County Mayo who is super good at connecting people. And so she just called me last night and we talked, and it's so fun.
Oh, that is so fun. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, all right, let me just show you this, and then I got a funny
Okay.
story to tell you. So, okay, so I've got these two separated. So I'm just going to add not all of it right away. Um,
Okay.
but you've heard of folding, so I'm just
Yes.
going to not fold this. I'm just going to
Okay.
mix it in, and then
Okay.
this just will help it incorporate better when I do fold. So you can kind of be
Okay.
rough with just put like a third of it
Sure.
in, and
Okay.
you don't have to get it all perfect or anything. And then you
Okay.
can go and put the rest of it in.
Okay.
I think these are so fun to make. I just,
Yeah,
and they're just impressive and
they
fancy,
are.
but they look fancy, but honest to goodness, anybody can do this.
Well, let's hope so.
I
I
would
could I
definitely
could be the
use
one who can't.
well, I just call me, I'll be around. So
Okay.
and then when you fold, you turn the bowl and
Okay.
reach down to the bottom
Okay.
and just keep turning
Okay.
the bowl and go slow
Okay.
because you worked hard to get all those bubbles and
Okay.
all that air. So you want to keep it, and you don't have to get it 100% incorporated. You can leave a few streaks in. You just
Okay.
want to get it mostly incorporated.
Right. Right. Right.
I have a feeling I used like I plucked out the largest eggs out of the
Mm,
carton for all these five. I might have to do a separate. I don't know if this will all fit in the souffle pan.
that looks yummy.
So yeah,
Yeah.
then I'll take our souffle dish, and it's pretty well incorporated here. Just pour it in. And this
So
is the
you
point.
could put those in what do they call
Yeah,
ramekins? Yeah.
ramekins. Yep, absolutely. Yep. And do individual ones. Your cooking time, you'd want to watch it
Sure.
for the cooking time for sure.
Sure. Now that's not gonna overflow, is it?
Um, well, it should go right up though. It should,
Okay.
if it does, it should go straight up. If
Okay.
it doesn't, then I've done something
And it's too runny.
wrong. But yeah, it's pretty full here, but and then you can sort of ensure that it goes straight up by just running your
For sure.
finger along the edge like
Okay.
this,
Okay. Good tip. Yeah.
and that helps.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
and I know it's fun and it
It
smells good,
is.
and
Oh, I can't wait to make this.
yeah, it's fun. And then I'm just gonna pop it in the oven. I suppose you could put like some paprika on the top if you wanted to do that, but I'm just gonna get it in the oven
It looks
right
so
away.
nice. Oh, yum.
And
Is
that's
that your
out of
dinner
the.
tonight?
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Have a Irish Christmas class. I had one last and that's here in my kitchen. So I had it last weekend, or not last weekend, the weekend before. And it is, so I talked to my friend Anne. I said, Anne, I talked to all my friends. So what do you have on Christmas? What is your main thing? And they have turkey and ham is their typical. That's what most people do. But we don't, I mean, I've been asking, I've never had turkey on Christmas because we already had turkey,
Oh,
we're all
that's
done with
we
turkey.
all we usually have turkey and
Uh-huh.
porchetta. We go to my brother's
Oh,
house.
yeah, yeah, yum. So what we are doing in this class is I bought a whole uncured, unsmoked ham. So it's
Oh,
like the top and the shank, the top and the
Mhm,
butt and
mhm.
the leg. And then I had the butcher cut it in half. So it's like 24 pounds, and I had him cut it in half.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
I did a dry brine the night before, and then it has to cook for about 4 hours, and then we glazed it all during the class, and we made, and it was the most amazing. I mean, I'm not a huge ham fan, but it didn't
Yeah.
taste like cured smoked ham. It was just porky and delicious, and
Mm,
wow. And
wow.
then we made these potatoes, and we made Irish coffees, and we had bread pudding, and
Oh,
oh, we
stop.
made sausage rolls. And I'm going to do the same class again a week from Friday, a week from tomorrow, Friday. Yeah, uh, Friday night, 6 o'clock. So if you're interested and want to
Okay.
come, good date
Oh,
night.
yeah. That
But
sounds.
it's amazing. I was so excited, and this ham was just unbelievable.
And where did you get
It
the
was
ham from?
this butcher in South St. Paul called Husnick's,
Oh, yeah, I've heard
and
of that one.
I called all over, and nobody. You just could get the cured or smoked, and I just didn't want that. I wanted a raw plain ham, that I could do my own flavoring to, and it was amazing. So I have the
Oh,
other
cool.
half that I'll do for this class.
That's
It was fun.
exciting.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a really fun class. So, I gotta put my timer on. Okay.
Oh,
So,
yeah, don't forget.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I will let you go because
Well,
you've got
I
dishes to
know.
do. This has been amazing. Honest to God, this is my first cooking class I've taken.
Oh, yay! I gotta pull the my thing up here so I can. How fun! Well,
It was fun. It's sort of like, um, it's just relaxing for me to just enjoy
yeah,
watching somebody
yeah,
else cook. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm definitely gonna make this
yeah,
very
yeah.
soon.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. It's I mean, it's not hard. You just, some of the tools, just have a whisk, have a wooden spoon, have a, mixer. If you have a stand mixer,
I have a
mix
nice
it a
mixer,
little.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Then that'll help. Just, throw it on there. Just keep an eye on it, and the souffle dish or the ramekins, whatever work.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll
I'm
take a
excited.
photo when it
Yeah,
comes out
do send it
of
to me.
the. Yeah,
And I hope you're gonna do more for Celtic Junction. Will you do more?
yeah. I have a couple for Q1 set up. Well, March is, of course, for all of us a busy
Yes.
month, but I think it's March. Um, oops, March. I have a seafood chowder, and
Oh, yum.
yeah, seafood chowder, and then the next week is shepherd's pie.
And what kind of meat do you use in your shepherd's pie?
Well, this one will be with lamb, but you could use beef or whatever you have. But I'm going to make it with lamb because that I
So
like.
I had the most amazing shepherd's pie
Oh,
in
I
this
bet.
little bar in Ireland called, I think it was called Candyman.
Ah,
I'll have to look it
I
up
think I've
again.
heard of that. I think I've heard of it. Where was it?
It was across the street from this hotel that we stayed in, and this was like the first time I went in 2014. So I would definitely have to look it up. But it was just this like little hole in the wall bar, and we had been, walking all day. I was with my 100% Norwegian husband, and we were just hungry. We wanted a beer, we wanted some food. And they always say, go to the bar, go to some
Yeah.
rundown bar, and that's where you're gonna get the best food. And we ordered shepherd's pie, and it was freaking amazing.
Oh my God, how
I
fun.
mean,
What town were you in?
This was in Dublin.
In Dublin. Okay, I think I've
Yeah, it's
heard
the
of a
only time I've been to
Candyman or
Dublin, and I swear it's like I love Ireland. I've seen Dublin. It's a big city. I don't need to go back there ever
I
again.
couldn't agree more. Could not
Thank
agree
you.
more. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay.
I tell that to everyone. It's
Except I
fun for
love
a
this. I
day.
love this shepherd's pie. It was so good. So yeah, I don't know. It was fun. And my goal going to Ireland was to find 12 pubs named Kennedy's Pub. So
Oh,
I could
okay.
make a calendar for myself. And I only found nine. I was just
Oh, cute. I have a friend who lives in Dublin, and I went to high school with her here, but she she takes lots of photos. I'll tell her to keep her eye out for Kennedy, a
That
pub,
would be
Kennedy's
great.
pub.
Yeah, I've
Her, and
got
her
one.
last name is, yeah, her last name is Murphy. So
Yeah.
they're like every other block, there's a pub
Yes,
called
absolutely.
Murphy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, too
Well,
funny.
Sheila, this was
Right.
so fun.
Well, thanks. It was great. Thanks
I will
for
sign up for another one of your classes in
okay.
March.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. I was looking around at I was almost tempted to um take the beginner Gaelic class, but I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I could
You know
learn.
what? I did that with Lavinia. Do you know Lavinia?
Yeah. Well, I know who she is, yeah.
It was really
Don't know her.
hard.
I know it looks so
But
hard.
I've met some wonderful people. I met some really great women in that class. And
Yeah.
one of them is Rita Davern. I don't know if you know Rita.
Uh-uh.
She's produced some great films. But anyway,
Oh, cool.
now Celtic Junction is going to be like contracting out with a third party in Ireland to teach Gaelic classes. And I think I'm going to take them this coming winter.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I might
just,
even like do a free what is it called? Rosetta
oh yeah,
Stone,
Rosetta Stone,
just
yeah.
to see if I think I could even manage it, because I barely do Spanish,
Well,
45
I
years
mean, this
ago.
woman started getting into verbs and I mean,
Yeah,
she just, I mean, it's a hard thing to teach. And I just don't think she's a great person, a nice human being. I just don't think
yeah,
she had the ability to teach it
yeah,
well. And I
yeah.
did tell
Well,
that to Patrick, but
I'm looking for conversational. I mean, or just
yeah,
to
yeah.
understand a few things.
People
I mean,
talking,
just
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
even just to pick up an accent, because if you go to, as
Oh
you
my
know, you
God.
go to the West, and sometimes,
No,
like, I know you're speaking the same language, but you're not speaking my language.
I don't know. Did you ever hear the children's program of Northern Ireland where
Yes,
the
yes,
kids came to
yep,
Minnesota?
yep,
So we did
yeah.
that. And
Oh,
though the mother called us before her son came over, and I couldn't understand a word she said. And I'm
mhm,
like,
mhm.
and this is, I mean, I wasn't really well versed in my Irish culture very well. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
how can this be? It
uh-huh.
was really
I
hard
know,
for me to understand her.
especially on the phone.
Yes, especially on the
Yeah,
phone. But
yeah,
anyway, it all worked out
yeah.
fine. But
And I
uh,
think we speak fast too. So I think,
yes,
and it's okay, I mean, to say, can you slow down a little?
right,
And I
right,
will too.
right.
Because
Yes. I
especially,
know.
Minnesotans can talk kind of fast sometimes, I think.
Yeah, I do too. I speak fast. And I don't always enunciate like I should, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's another
Well,
thing too.
thank you. I
Yeah.
will give you a
Well,
high
thank
rating and
you.
I look forward to
Oh,
taking another class from you. So
thanks, Jane. It was great chatting with you. I'll
me
see
too.
you around.
All right,
Okay,
for
have a Merry
sure.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, Sheila. All right.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
soon. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.